Okay, so I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you, sir. Dr. Jitesh J. Thakkar is a professor at National Rail and Transportation Institute, Vadodara, India's first university dedicated in the field of rail and transportation education. He has served as a faculty of Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, IIT Kharagpur for 10 years. He holds a PhD in Supply Chain Management from IIT Delhi, MTech in Industrial Engineering from IIT Delhi, and Bachelor's of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering, confirmed with gold medal from Birla Vishwakarma Mahavidyalaya Engineering College, Sardar Patel University. He has professional experience of more than 20 years. He is a productive researcher with high index 23 and 70 research paper published in SCI Scopus listed journals. He has extensively published in the high impact factor international journals such as International Journal of Production Economics, Transportation Research Part E, International Journal of Production Research, Computers and Industrial Engineering, Production Planning and Control, Expert System with Applications, Journal of Cleaner Production. He has extended training consulting to various organizations such as L&T, DRDO, Food Corporation of India, Naveli Lignite Corporation, Tata Steel, Tata Hitachi, SR Steel Ordnance Factory, Lakshmi Machine Works Limited, Godrej, Qatar Chemical. He has been invited as faculty expert by IIT Kanpur, IIT Madras, IIM Indore, NITI Mumbai, NIT Surat, NIT Trichy, IRMA, AMA, BCCI Kolkata, L&T, PMI. I am pleased to have such an eminent personality with us, sir. Thank you again, sir, for joining with us. Now, I will hand over this session to you, sir. Please continue the session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for giving me an opportunity to interact with the participants and share my views with whatever little knowledge I have in the topic like Lean Six Sigma. So we will try to appreciate
Welcome.
some of the salient features, and then subsequently we will see some implementation challenges, case study, and likewise. So I think you should support me for the slide movement.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, yes, sir.
Uh, so yes, please just go to next one.
Oh, sorry.
I may try once again because unnecessarily I will bother you. Uh, just a minute. One more time I will try if I can.
First, open your PDF, sir. Then you can share from
I
screen.
opened my PDF. I exactly opened my PDF, but I don't know why this screen is coming just.
Just let me check, sir.
This
Okay, okay.
particular screen is coming where all the participants are
Uh,
seen.
you are
My
organizer, so
desktop screen, my desktop screen is not available.
mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Entire screen application window. Let me just see if I can open from my Gmail, because this will
Mhm.
actually is
Actually,
it
when you
visible?
share, sir, yeah, 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 sir.
It is visible. Eh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I opened it through my Gmail, so I think it may work. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so fine. And now the control is with me, so I can do.
Okay.
I need not to bother you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. Yes. So I am a professor at NRTI Vadodara, and at the outset, I want to thank Department of Mechanical Engineering, Christian College of Engineering and Technology for scheduling this session. and wherever possible, I mention the references in the lecture material as well as my published work in the domain of Lean and Six Sigma, and that you can refer. So this is just a small profile that I operate in the areas of logistics and supply chain, lean manufacturing, and some of the research areas I have indicated. For 10 years, I was a professor at IIT Kharagpur, and recently, a couple of months back, I joined NRTI Vadodara. You can see my research at Google Scholar, and you can approach me for any research if it interests you. Just to give you a brief profile of NRTI, it is the vision of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi and first university focused on transport related education. We offer basically four UG programs: BBA, BSc in transportation, BTech in rail system, rail infrastructure, and total six programs at the postgraduate level. See, before I move on to the topic, I just want to share the glory of our Indian railways. If you just think about our life, at least I feel that since my childhood, the way I take my lunch, dinner, or breakfast, I wear the cloth, same way I always considered railway as part of an inevitable part of my life. And we all have experienced this. It means if there is a life, there is a railway. We cannot just think our life in India without railway. And this I had never thought, in fact, that yes, railway is an organization and railway has such a huge scope, but I just took it granted throughout my life that yes, railway should be there. So now, when I joined this Indian Railway initiated institute called NRTI, supported by Ministry of Railways, just I am happy to share the glory of our Indian Railway. I will never say my Indian Railway; it is our Indian Railway. So it has a glorious history of more than 160 years. This organization started in 1853. Just see, any organization to survive for 160 years is not that simple thing. It's a perfect example of both traditional and modern system. We have old locomotives also. We have adapted the modern technology also. We have the luxurious train. We have Rajdhani, Tejas train. We are exploring the PPP model also. So lot many things Indian Railways has adopted. It's an exemplary example of sustainable organization which has survived progress and served unstoppable. Even if you see during Corona, this organization has unstoppably served the people of India, citizen of India, by providing Shramik special trains and freight logistics. There are huge research opportunities I can see from engineering, technology, and policy planning in the Indian Railways. And in nutshell, I can say it is the lifeline of millions of people of India. So this is the glory of our Indian Railways, and we all are proud of it. So now quickly going to my today's agenda, the topic TPS and Lean based. Why Lean Six Sigma? What are the benefits of Lean Six Sigma? What are the prerequisites for Lean Six Sigma? And some case study. I think this would be adequate to do some justice to the topic, and we will try to say, focus on these few bullets. I request the participants to mute their microphone. Sometimes, if I have to ask some question, I will definitely request you. Okay, so I'm just posing a question. So, because see, nobody can attend any great speaker for more than 45 minutes. We have, and that too in an online mode. So in between, I will pose some question to break the monotony, also to give you an opportunity to speak. But immediately after expressing your view, please put your microphone off so that we don't get disturbed by the external noise. So I am just posing a question to my audience. What is manufacturing excellence? And please feel free to express your view in even the vague manner, because for 1.5 hours this is our family. We are interacting at a family level. You all are teachers, I know. We have conducted many QIP programs at IIT Kharagpur, and always we used to conduct in a very friendly manner. So now the platform has changed and we are interacting online. So you are teachers and we all are part of one family. So please express whatever comes to your mind. What is manufacturing excellence? Anyone? See, we may not able to accommodate number of views, but one or two quick view would really enrich our discussion.
It is certainly focusing on quality, cost, delivery, and flexibility.
Great, excellent view. You directly hit three most important pillars of manufacturing excellence. It is quality, flexibility, and
Cost,
cost.
delivery.
Okay, maybe you said cost or something. So you rightly hit the three most important pillars of manufacturing excellence, and I agree with you that these three, if they are ensured by whatever model, whether it is Six Sigma, whether it is Lean or Lean Six Sigma, whatever methodology you use, if you ensure these three model, then I would say we would be able to realize our vision, dream for Atmanirbhar Bharat. So I think lot is conveyed through this, that these three are most important to realize the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Simply by offering a package of 20 lakh crore, I think it will not help us. We need to have three things. Number one, do we have the quality products? Do we have the innovative products? And are we cheapest in the world? If these three things are not there, who will purchase our product? And if we are only trying to sell our product in the indigenous market of India, then do we have the purchasing power? Typically in the situation of Corona. So these are some of the very critical questions that we have to think, and manufacturing excellence somewhere is a great enabler for achieving the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So that is why you will see that the definition of SME in terms of turnover or maybe the investment is changed. More liquidity for SMEs is ensured because they are acting as a backbone to OEMs, and if they are not improved in terms of skills and quality, then definitely if the component level quality is less, then the quality of the final product will definitely suffer. And it's not only quality about the product features or meeting the customer requirement, it includes definitely, as you said, the cost and our flexibility in offering the different types of products as per market demand. So fine, these are this one slide itself. We can speak and we can discuss for 1.5 hours, but fine, let us try to move on with some more concepts. So before we go into the Lean Six Sigma, I just want to remind you, you must have come across, please put your microphone on. You must have come across some good thoughts by industry leaders. And I just want to remind you, I will not say I want to tell you, because these are some of the famous quotes, thoughts. So first one is from Henry Ford. It is not the employer who pays the wages. He only handles the money. It is the product that pays the wages. See, you all are working in some engineering institute, and I am also working in typically a techno management kind of institute where we have the focus on engineering and this. Before joining this for 10 years, as I said, I worked with the Apex Institute for 10 years, and we all can understand that whether it is IIT, IIM, or any other university, we all are under tremendous competitive pressure in the education industry. Even at IIT, I still know some of the PG programs, they really have to compete amongst IIT. And it's not necessary that you will always get a very good quality student in all the PG programs. See, at IIT level, there is not an issue of filling the seats. Seats will be filled, but it is all about getting the good quality students. So there is a huge competition. And at your level, maybe at state level college, maybe at the self-finance level college, or maybe at NIT, you must be experiencing that at the end of the day, what pays is our product and our product is our student. So whether you apply it to manufacturing industry or service, Henry Ford is absolutely true in his spirit that if you can sell your product, if your students can perform well, then only your institute, your organization will flourish and they would be able to pay you for your salary, other benefits and so on. The second quote is from Cary Lettet. He says that nature does constant value stream mapping. It's called evolution. See, here I am reminded of one of the very important quality thought, and it says that survival is not necessary. Meaning to say, if I have to survive, I have to struggle. And I cannot take the nature granted. Nature constantly does the evaluation and it is the survival of the fittest. The third quote, again by Henry Ford, he says that time waste differs from material waste in that there can be no salvage. Material को salvage कर सकते हैं, time गया गया आपका. The easiest of all waste and hardest to correct is the waste of time. It is easiest also, but hardest also. Because wasted time does not litter the floor like wasted material. Meaning to say, you cannot see that your time is wasted. On the contrary, when we are wasting the time, we realize that we are enjoying. But that enjoyment is only momentary, and actually, this is a wastage of effort, wastage of our discipline, and this is something which is very, very serious, but nobody recognizes it. Last one, most important, a bad system will beat a good person every time. See, because you are from self-finance institutions, state level institutions, maybe some faculty from NIT or other, I don't know exactly the composition. But see, many a times we experience in academics, because it is almost my 22nd year in academics, and I worked at the university level, at IIT level, at IIM I have taught. Having seen the various systems, I would agree with this thought specifically for academic institutions. See, every institute they will talk about becoming like IIT, and you will see within 5 years they will miserably fail. The reason is very simple. Because many a times faculty used to come to our department at IIT under QIP program, and they will try to say that, sir, how can we make our department or our particular institute at par with IIT processes? So see, anything you cannot replicate half-heartedly. Same applies to even IIT also, let me tell you. If they want to become Stanford or they want to become MIT, because everyone has a boss, everyone has a superior, everyone has a superior system. So nobody in the way can say that we are the best. Yes, we may be the best at some level. We cannot say we are the best across all the country. So here I would say that unless you replicate the processes and the necessary benchmarks, suppose IIT is producing research, then what are the enablers? What are the factors? What are the environmental factors? For example, what is the teaching load? What is the composition of teaching, administration and research? See, nobody has a magic. Let me be a very honest teacher. Nobody in this world has a magic. There is a process, because this lecture is more about process, Lean and Six Sigma. So we must understand there is a process, and a process must be appropriately monitored and controlled. If you can do so, then only you can replicate the benefits of the other system. But in India, we make a very big mistake. We don't want to replicate the structure. We want to immediately replicate the outcomes. And who gets suffered, who gets tortured in the process is the employee. So a bad system will beat a good person every time. So a bad system means a structure of the system. We need to correct the structure of the system, and then we should talk about the good system. For example, one part I have never liked in university system, they say that assistant professor level person should take more teaching load and professor level person will take less teaching load. IIT, when I joined 10 years back as an assistant professor and having gone through all the associate professor and professor, all the scale, what I found that teaching load is same. And on the contrary, assistant professors are given more time for research because they are young and their mental and physical energy level is high. I'm telling openly in public forum because this is the fact. So if you want the outcome of that kind, you should follow that structure. Now what you are doing, a young fellow with a lot of physical and mental energy is occupied too much in the paperwork, lot of repetitive work or a huge amount of teaching load, then he will not have the mental energy left for doing any quality research. So fine, every organization has its own objective. Many organizations, they struggle for survival and they want that, yes, we just want to see that our seats are filled, we can manage the show with less number of faculty, our operating expenses should go down, and this is what we want to achieve. Then you will achieve that only and we should be happy with that. But if your bar is different, then you must investigate what is the process behind. So I have a habit of talking through various examples being a researcher. So couple of more quotes I have put here and somewhere else in the PPT that you can see later on. I'm just putting a cartoon and posing for 30 seconds. Anyone who can just make any sense out of this? Anyone just a quick comment? It's a very simple cartoon. Some contradiction is presented. So it's nothing great. See, they gave the mock-up of a product and customer liked it very much, and then say they wanted to have say uh, more one say, or they want to sign the contract, something like that. And then in the last cartoon, last picture, it is said that mock-up was our competitor's product with duct tape over the logo. So I want to say here that processes are unique. You just cannot put the tag of MIT on IIT, a tag of IIT on NIT, a tag of NIT on government institute, and just say that our products now would be at par with MIT product, IIT product, NIT product. I am using the example of academics because you all are from academics and we can appreciate the concept of process well. Unless you replicate the characteristics of the process, your outcome, your product will be like that. You cannot just put a tag, a pseudo cover, and say that my product is fantastic. So this is the emphasis. If we just see the eras in the quality and process, 50 and 65, it was an era of marketing because the world has excess capacity and they were able to produce as much they can, and then the challenge was to push the products into the markets through marketing. 65 to 80, there were shortages like concentrated earning, mergers and acquisition took place to increase the value of the firm, and that was typically called a financial era. 80 to 90, see, all the era we are trying to achieve a good sustainability and profitability for the market, but our processes were designed to meet different criteria. 80 to 90, that was the era of international competition, and it was the era of quality because you all know that globalization and other movements across the world started. 1990 and onwards, we had the era of partnership, and typically this is called the supply chain. Quality at my level is not important. Quality across the supply chain, cost across the supply chain, inventory management across the supply chain is important, and still this era is going on with certain modifications. So 1990 onwards, we are living in the era of partnership. Anyone, how do you appreciate this quote? Or at least one person can read it out. Anyone? I hope I am audible. Yes.
The Professor Shigu Shingo says the most dangerous kind of waste is the waste we do not recognize.
So this is the TPS, like you can say, godfather of TPS system, Shigo Shingo. TPS means Toyota Production System, Lean System, and rightly you read that the most dangerous kind of waste is the waste we do not recognize. See, you all are a very elderly person, and hopefully, many of you, excluding some very young people, are married, and we all have the kids. So many times we tell our kid, don't waste your time, invest in study, or uh, good work, quality work, which can help you in your life. So this is something which is which we are trying to say through different means. The most dangerous waste is the waste which we do not recognize. We just take the situation granted and we say it should be like that. It should be like that. We become complacent. And this is something which lean production system, our topic is Lean Six Sigma. So I will try to integrate these two in order to help the audience to appreciate the benefit. So the lean part says that we must accept that yes, there are different types of waste and our system is producing some kind of waste which has to be controlled or has to be minimized. You just see this. This is a very, very important diagram and you must have referred it somewhere. When you look at the work, what you see here, it is the orange portion. This is the minimum work content of product. Then you can see four blocks in the green one. First one is work content added by defects in design or specification. Second is work content added by inefficient work design and methods of manufacture. Number three, time added due to shortcomings of the management. And number four, time added due to the shortcomings of the worker. Now you just see that if I consider this yellow box on the extreme left side, total time of operation, actually the orange one is only useful. All other four can be minimized if they cannot be eliminated. आपका डिजाइन ही अगर गलत है, अगर आपने ओवर स्पेसिफाई किया है डिजाइन को in whatever way, either design is over specified or design itself is faulty, then whatever you are processing, for example in academic context, your curriculum is not appropriately designed, then the product will be inappropriate. Student, suppose your curriculum has all the necessary courses, but the prerequisites are not appropriately set. Again, there is a problem. So these are design related problems. If I look at 3 and 4, time added because of inefficiency of the management. Inefficiency of the top management means my top management is not interested in giving me the necessary resources. Suppose we are interacting on, say, this online, we need a technology, we need a platform. If this platform, technology, internet connectivity is not proper, then the quality of work will go down. So this is inefficiency because of top management. And finally, suppose I am provided everything. I am a worker, a teacher worker. I am provided everything, but I don't make the proper slides. I don't want to do a good work. I don't want to deliver the lecture properly. I don't read my content properly. Then again, it will compromise with the quality at point 4. So we have green boxes 1, 2, 3, 4. All are the boxes where there is a scope for improvement, reducing the waste. So I just want to sensitize you that green boxes indicates the opportunity for saving, reducing the waste, and we can benefit our organization. Now I want to introduce you with very, very important concept uh, written in the article published by Worthy F 1991. What is the difference between Western and Japanese cost management? Anyone can just quickly recognize? US concept or a Western concept is a top-down concept where you say market research, product characteristic, design, engineering, supplier pricing, cost, and then manufacturing. This is the sequence you follow. In Japanese concept, we go for market research, product characteristic, planned selling price led desired profit, and then there is a target cost. Are you getting the point? See, if you look at the Japanese concept, who decides my selling price? See, I cannot just make the product, calculate the cost, add the profit and say that this is my selling price and my customers should purchase it. Customer will simply switch over to competitor if my prices are not competitive. Customer will not purchase. So who decides my selling price? My competitor. I must try to see that I must consider my selling price constant in reference to competition. Whatever profit I want, that I should deduct, and then whatever is the cost, it is typically called target cost, that has to be managed through proper design, engineering and supplier pricing, and finally manufacturing. So this is where the difference lies. Now if I have to work with the second concept, this is target costing. It means I must complete my all engineering, design and supplier pricing. Within that cost, I must minimize my wastages, and it is basically about lean manufacturing. So I would put a quote here just to give audience a small break and comfort in between. I put some quote. The essential question is not how busy are you, but what are you busy at? So typically there are various elements we have discussed of manufacturing process: raw material, machine process capability, flow of material, stage inventory, control equipment and so on, which basically decides the effectiveness of the manufacturing process. Now before I move on, you have any question, concern or comments? It's okay, I will see the professor who is coordinating will share my lecture material. It's okay, we may say accommodate few slides, or few slides we may not be able to discuss. It's okay, but let us try to see whatever we learn, we try to appreciate it. Okay, fine. Then I have put a small task here. Suppose if I ask you to identify quickly some of the enablers for manufacturing excellence. See, this is my teaching pedagogy. So first I asked you the question, what is manufacturing excellence? Now having discussed some material in between, I'm asking you, what are the key enablers for manufacturing excellence? Can anybody quickly tell me two or three?
It may be the availability of the resources, input resources.
Okay, fine. It's okay. You please see. We don't have the time to debate. We are just trying to do some brainstorming so that you remain active, because it is it's the end of the day session and it's very difficult to get the attention of the audience. Fine, good.
Committed leadership.
Okay, good. Leadership, very important. Deming's prize
Fact.
is one of the well known for their leadership qualities of organization.
Data-driven approach.
Sir, information technology.
Absolutely. I agree with the madam that information technology is one of the extremely important competitive advantage. You just see that banking sector, typically finance sector, okay, their success is solely because of this technology. And during the corona, we all have realized that if this technology would not have been there, then our industry would also have gone into huge recession, isn't it? Who will pay us the salary? Okay, if we cannot do our work, then we may be like other sector people, and we may have to compromise with our salary and everything. Fine, good. So IT is a great enabler. Now just see what I'm putting here. Just I want to give you the first picture, that where should you look at when you talk about the lean and when you talk about the Six Sigma. Lean is about improving the process performance through waste elimination in cycle time reduction in a very simple way. Six Sigma is also about improving process performance in relation to what is critical to the customer. The focus is bias for action and focus is bias for analysis. So Six Sigma has a bias for analysis, more statistical in nature, and Lean is more action oriented. Methods: Lean Six Sigma, I conduct complete 5 days program, and my NPTEL lectures are also available, recorded when I was at IIT Kharagpur, and more than 20,000 students in last 5 years they have attended. So you can search it on the Google. So Six Sigma lectures, almost 64 lectures are available on NPTEL. So Lean, you have the method like Kaizen, value stream mapping, 5S, TPM, Jidoka, Andon, many. And in case of Six Sigma, typically it uses the approach of DMAIC, which is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Deployment, in case of Lean, it is implicit infrastructure. Deployment in case of Six Sigma is explicit infrastructure, and Lean focuses on speed, flow, and cost, and Six Sigma focuses on customer satisfaction. You will see that these two approaches are not different. They are different, but they are complementary to each other. They are complementary to each other. So organizations who have implemented successfully Lean, they have also added Six Sigma, and the organizations like Motorola and others who have implemented Six Sigma, they have also adopted Lean because they are supporting each other, they are complementary to each other. So this slide is very important to appreciate that Lean and Six Sigma, they support each other, they do not contradict. So TPS and Lean waste, let us try to look at some of the Lean aspects. So waste means something which adds time and cost and does not add value to the product. You all understand. You look at the figure and this is value added time and this is non-value added time. The green one, which is dark green, is all value added time, and the light green with some rocks or some say shapes inside is non-value added time. You just see, for a typical process there is more than 60 to 70% non-value added time, and I already told there are 4 areas because of which non-value added time comes into our process, and there is a huge scope to reduce the non-value added time and improve our process efficiency. So this is something that you can remember. So basically when I talk about, so something which I discuss, I have put some more slides as a supporting slide. We need not to repeat the content again, but it is obviously useful for your future. So 7 waste in manufacturing. Number 1 is overproduction. मार्केट में जो डिमांड है उससे ज्यादा मैं प्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूं और वो मेरी इन्वेंट्री पाइल अप हो रही है. आई एम जस्ट piling the inventory, my money is blocked. Transport, unnecessarily I am transporting the goods which is not required for a particular market, and this is another kind of waste. Waiting, my material is waiting but not getting processed because there is a huge WIP. It's a waiting. Third waste. The fourth waste is the inventory. Overproduction will lead to inventory, and inventory will have a carrying cost, obsolescence cost, rental I may have to pay, storage cost, and inventory in a way If the product is fast moving product, it's okay. But if the product is a smaller shelf life, it will become obsolete very fast. I have the defects. Who will purchase the defective product? It will just come back to you as a return product, but always remember you have already done the processing, and after doing lot of processing, if you are producing a defective product, you have wasted your resources. It is something like, say, our wife cooks something and nobody, or maybe I cook something, why wife? I do enjoy cooking and nobody eats. So the gas or the energy we have consumed, the raw material, the time, everything we have put in, finally nobody consumes it and it is a waste. Then over processing, either as I told your design is faulty or over specified, where two bolts are required you are putting three nuts and bolts, where one hole is required you are putting three holes. You must check your design and try to see that over processing is a waste, and movement within the plant. If your plant layout is not proper, you will unnecessarily move your product, which will not only waste the time but also damages your product within the plant. And this is the seventh type of waste. Once again I am repeating: overproduction, second transportation, third waiting, fourth inventory, fifth defect, sixth overprocessing, and seventh movement. The eighth waste, since last couple of years, people have added, is the waste of unrecognized human potential. These I have not included here, but I will tell. Unrecognized human potential. Suppose somebody is good at teaching some course and forcefully we are giving him some other course in academics. He has a potential for mathematical courses. We are asking him to teach more management kind of courses. He will do because he has to earn the salary, but ultimately the best value will not go to our customer who is a student in our system, and same applies to our manufacturing also. So I hope this is very clear. So I explained and I put explanation also, so that by chance if you have not followed my talk, you can see later on. This is the Toyota Production System complete framework. If you have to implement the lean, then first is need to be competitive to survive in market, improve productivity, cost reduction by elimination of muda, and preventing reoccurrence of the abnormality. There are various approaches you can see as you move from left to right on the slide. Standardization of the work. You have one block dotted in orange, various tools and techniques to reduce the muda, just in time, Hijunga, pull system, continuous flow, tech time, all the waste reduction techniques. On the other side, if you want to target the abnormalities in your manufacturing process, you have Jidoka, built-in quality, fixed position layout, Pokayoke, end-on, and after that you apply the Kaizen for continuous improvement. Discussing all, as I told, it's a complete one-day workshop on lean itself. So I'm just giving you the highlight that what is the total implementation framework for lean as per Toyota Production System. So this is something we talked about target costing. This is the conventional thinking, first one is, and the second one is the Toyota thinking. I have to attack on the manufacturing cost by reducing the waste to meet the competitor dictated selling price. I am nobody to decide the fees of my college. If a student is getting better education in less price elsewhere, definitely he will go there. So it is not me who will decide the price, selling price of my product, it is the competitor, and I must rework from the selling price to the cost and decide that how can I meet the target cost. So this is something that I just put what we discussed. There is an important concept called take time. See, one approach is to produce based on the forecast. This is a traditional approach, but it may lead to the accumulation of inventory, which is one of the waste. The take time based concept says the formula, if you see, that operating time per day means regular working hours divided by amount of production requirement per day. It is a customer demand driven approach. Means suppose there is a demand of 200 products per day, and suppose I am operating for, let us say, 400 minutes, maybe let us say 8 hours per day, excluding that recess time or lunch time. Suppose 400 minutes per day, then 400 divided by 200 means I should produce 2 products per minute. Or sorry, it's just reverse. I should produce 1 product per 2 minutes. So it is a customer demand driven approach, and this is something, a distinct concept called take time in Toyota production system, which is driven by the customer demand and not based on the forecast. So this is something that I thought I should at least tell you about Toyota production system. So there are 4 simple rules when you think about the lean implementation. All work shall be highly specified as to content. Every customer supplier connection must be direct. Within the organization, you just think you are a teacher. If your administration is not providing you a proper timetable or necessary support, your quality of teaching will be affected. So there is a customer supplier relationship within the organization, and it must be managed properly. And 2 more points that you may just refer as per your interest. So just I am pausing here for 30 seconds. How do you appreciate this? Anyone? Just anyone. It's a very simple statement given by William A. Foster. Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. We cannot have anything based in terms of processes, organization, or life. It is all about making the wisest choices from the available alternatives, and always remember quality is not an accident. See, many a times we make a mistake. Means let me not touch your sentiment, but we all, including myself, we unnecessarily compare our children with the other children, and then we try to demoralize them, saying that you are not able to perform the way they are performing. It is exactly like telling some self-financed engineering college struggling with their survival that you are not able to perform at par with IIT. How it is possible? IIT has a huge infrastructure support. IIT has 300 crore rupees of grant every year. How we can compare one system with other? The people and the stakeholders of the system will simply get demoralized. So always remember, quality is not an accident. As I told right at the beginning, unless you replicate the structure, you cannot reproduce the quality. Either you be comfortable with your quality, or you must have the aspiration to reproduce the structure which gives you the quality desired. So once again, I am putting any question, concern or comment you have, and there is one question I have posed here. So quickly in maybe 10 seconds, if somebody can speak. Okay, fine. So now coming to, yes, somebody wants to speak. Yes.
One can be waiting for approvals.
Okay, good. Any other point?
Overproduction, teaching more than what is required.
I'm referring the case of teaching learning.
Teaching more than what is required. Teaching more than what
Exactly.
is required in the
Very
syllabus.
good, very good. See, teaching more than what is required in a particular course itself is, see, I told very honestly that if I have to teach about all the lean tools, I need one day. What is the point? Yes, I'm giving you a broader framework, so at least if you have an interest, you can refer. But I know I cannot cover, or it is not within the scope of this lecture. It is over processing. Very true. Over processing. Fine, good. So at least you started thinking. Now, Lean Six Sigma is about the integration. Right at the beginning, I have thrown the light that Lean and Six Sigma are not opposing each other. They are complementing each other, even though they are two different approaches. They are complementary to each other. So the question is Six Sigma or Lean. We want to reduce the lead time or we want to reduce the cost. Obviously, we want both. The right at the beginning, one of the professor has said that cost, quality, flexibility. Fine, these are the broader indicators. We can define it in terms of micro indicators. So I want to reduce the cost, I want to reduce the lead time also. And hence, I need both, not only Lean or not only Six Sigma. So once again to remind you, Lean is about reduce lead time by eliminating waste. And Six Sigma is about reducing process variation. Today, two most common problems typically in our age bracket of 40 to 50, majority of the people they face is life style disorders. One is blood pressure, other is the sugar. So I would say that blood pressure can be related to your uh, Six Sigma, because you want to reduce the variability, you want to control the fluctuation in your blood pressure going too high, too low. And just I am giving you an analogy. And Lean is about reducing the waste. Waste means we should reduce the belly fat, we should reduce our carbohydrate intake, and then we can control the optimal sugar level. So just if you can remember for a long, I am giving you an analogy that Lean means reducing the waste, controlling the blood sugar. Six Sigma is reducing the variability, controlling the blood pressure. May not be exact analogy. My daughter is in MBBS. She may not like this analogy, but as a professor, we can always draw some parallel between the concept and the some key problems. So Lean is about eliminating waste, and Six Sigma is about reducing the variability. Lean is flow focused. Always remember, my flow of material should not get obstructed. There is not much emphasis on statistical control. But if you look at Six Sigma, it is problem focused. I will operate DMAIC cycle and I will try to control the variability by deploying the proper statistical control measures. So that is the difference, that Lean is flow focused, Six Sigma is problem focused. Just see this, and if you have any question, please ask. So the common point, last point is common. They both focus on customer. If you look at the lean, the last word is feed, means increasing the flow. कहीं पे भी कुछ रुकना नहीं चाहिए, इन्वेंट्री नहीं होनी चाहिए ज्यादा, ओवर प्रोडक्शन नहीं होना चाहिए, ओवर प्रोसेसिंग, मूवमेंट कम होनी चाहिए, वेटिंग नहीं होना चाहिए, फ्लो. सिक्स सिग्मा, through statistical process control, I must try to reduce the variability. What does it mean? I will tell you through the diagram. So just see how the entire quality domain has evolved. Inspection, quality control, quality assurance, total quality management, separately lean, separately Six Sigma, now lean Six Sigma, and just people are calling the integrated approach as TPS, Toyota Production System Lean Six Sigma. So this is the complete evolution of quality. Now I want to show you the variability part. Just see this. What do you appreciate here? It's a normal distribution, normal curve, we all know. The first one is 3 sigma, the upper one, which has a wider spread. The lower one is 6 sigma, and the goal of 6 sigma process is to achieve the reduced variability. So I hope you can see in the first diagram where the variability is higher, it is 3 sigma process control. You can see on both the sides that there is wastage. Means the products are falling outside the upper specification limit and lower specification limit. But when you look at the Six Sigma, you will find that your processes are coming more and more under control. So variability is going down. Variability is going down means wastage is reduced because your products are not falling outside the control limit. Just using the life analogy. What happens when we practice the meditation and yoga? What happens to our mind when we practice meditation and yoga?
Sir, we are able to concentrate on a particular task.
Exactly. So I would say our mind becomes stable. The energy level of our mind increases. So would you like to compare it with the graph of Six Sigma or Three Sigma?
Sir, it is related to Three Sigma because if I take regularly,
So
then
madam,
obviously yes, sir. Yes.
rightly you said that our process is becoming, our mind is becoming more concentrated towards the center part, which is the target specification for a product, and we are able to concentrate. So ultimately, in nutshell, I would say that a process may be at 1 sigma. There is a calculation mathematical which we cannot cover, but if you are interested, as I told, I have delivered 64 lectures on Six Sigma NPTEL. You can go through or you can register whenever it is offered. So there is a mathematical calculation. So Six Sigma, when I talk about, my processes are having less variability, more concentrated towards target, and the wastages are less. So this is something which is achieved through DMAIC cycle. Okay, I'm just putting it in another way. Please switch off your microphone. Uh, there is a nominal value, upper specification limit and lower specification. You can see two curves here. Obviously, the outer one just meets the upper specification and lower specification. which is more related to 3 sigma. The inner one has less variability and it is more specific to 6 sigma. Just same thing I am putting in a different way to help you to appreciate the concept of 6 sigma. So you can see through these also that my variability is reducing. How it is reducing? You are applying DMAIC cycle in 6 sigma that helps you to reduce the variability. So many companies, when I was going through some of the cases, it has been found that sigma, something like you practice half an hour of meditation every day. Your process through DMAIC, here meditation is like DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve and control. You are giving a meditation to the process. Okay, we teachers live in our own world and we try to set the analogy. So your process, if it improves by 1 sigma only, if it is at 2 sigma, you make it 3 sigma. If it is at 3 sigma, you make it 4 sigma. If it is at 4 sigma, you make it 5 sigma. Through DMAIC cycle, then it has been observed, it will improve your margin by 20%, profit margin. It will increase your capacity 12 to 18%, because now capacity is utilized optimally, so your capacity wastage is reduced. 12% reduction in number of employees and 10 to 30%, 30% reduction in the capital. So these are the benefits industries have observed. I have indicated the source also. Again, 3 sigma and 6 sigma I am putting. Now just see here, I want to emphasize another concept. What you see on the left side is LSL. What you see on the right side is USL. LSL stands for lower specification limit. USL stands for upper specification limit. And you just see that in between I have a process plotted in yellow. My process is dancing. I'm using the word, funny word, dancing on left side and right side by 1.5 SD. SD stands for standard deviation. Now, in this case, you just see that even if there is a change in the center value, mean value, still my process, because of less variability, is well within the specification limit and I am not producing any bad quality product. Meaning to say, if you reduce the variability, if you make your mind stable under any situation, your productivity will not get much affected. Same applies to my process. If my process variability is less, even though there is a shift, my yellow curve shifts to right side dotted or left side dotted, still I am well within the USL and LSL and I am not producing any waste. So this is the advantage of reducing variability. So here we can just see that 6 sigma in terms of what? In terms of defect rate, products per million. Million means 10 lakh. If I am having a process at 1 sigma, I would be producing 6,90,000 as the defective product out of 10 lakh. If I am improving my process through DMAIC, then out of 10 lakh, about 3 lakh products will be defective. If I am going to 3 sigma, 66,000. If I am going to 4 sigma, 6,000. 5 sigma, only 233 out of 10 lakh. And 6 sigma, just remember, it is 3.4 products only out of 10 lakh. If you are in 1 sigma or 2 sigma, anytime you will lose your business, whether it is education or it is manufacturing, service or manufacturing. 3 sigma and 4 sigma is called industry average. If you want to be world class, 5 sigma and 6 sigma. If you ask me about Indian industry, mainly they are in 2 sigma to 4 sigma and still we are away from the world class standards. Okay. So this is the DMAIC framework: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And this is the process which helps me to reduce my, say, variability of the process. As a part of Six Sigma, there are various roles you have to define in the organization: black belt, green belt, master black belt, champions and leader, and senior manager. And if you really define this role properly, then only you can implement the Six Sigma in your organization. So here I just want to indicate something, that 80% of Six Sigma implementation fails. This is the fact, because the roles are not properly defined in the organization. They hire the consultant, and the consultant will just help for some time, take the hefty fees, and then the roles are not properly defined, and Six Sigma initiative will fail. Traditional Six Sigma implementation have largely been adopted at large Fortune 500 companies due to the large investment in people, training, and overall support. And many companies, they believe that they cannot invest too much, but it is not so. Six Sigma is not at the organizational level, it is at the process level, and you can choose the critical processes in your organization, maybe teaching learning process, maybe administrative process, and only for those processes you can implement the Six Sigma. So typically, we can just summarize, because the most important principle of Lean Six Sigma is to respect the time. Okay, so if I don't respect the time, then my teaching on Lean Six Sigma is not appropriate. So the Lean Six Sigma strategy is all about change strategy. I talked about Lean, I talked about Six Sigma, because there is nothing like I talk about Lean Six Sigma. It's an integration approach. It's an integration approach, so both have to deploy it appropriately. So basically, what we see is the improved customer satisfaction, increased market share, sustained gains for completed projects, and so on. So I just want to share one case study which we have published in the International Journal of Quality and Reliability Management. It is on Six Sigma implementation of DMAIC methodology to reduce the defects in a telecommunication cabinet door manufacturing process. So this is the finished telecommunication cabinet door which we have considered, and the process which manufactures this door we have considered for Six Sigma DMAIC cycle implementation and improvement. The define phase, I am giving you this paper. If you want, I will give you later on, or you can download from the appropriate source. So we identified the door panel, and this door panel had many dimensions. We gave the code 4, distance between the studs in the top row of the door panel. Those who are mechanical engineer, they can appreciate. Code 06, distance between the studs on the right vertical column. Code 7, distance between the studs and the bottom, and so on. Then we just plotted the Pareto chart, and there is something called SIPOC chart, supplier input, process output, and customer chart. So supplier, GI sheet manufacturer, for our case company, input GI sheet, process is punching, deburring, output customer is the telecommunication company. Measure phase is the second phase in DMAIC cycle of Six Sigma. First is define, second is measure. So we collected the data of the measurement of code 12, and the data collected was for a duration of 18 days. Equipment used by quality inspector to measure the data was vernier caliper, and the band of the sheet, a right angle scale to measure the degree of the band, and a steel tape to measure dimensions. We conducted gauge R&R study, which is gauge repeatability and reproducibility study, and we found that it is 99.53%. It means the gauges which we are using are adequately good enough for the measurement purpose. So here, this is the measure phase. Subsequently, in the analyze phase, we measured the CP, that is the process capability, and PP value. So CP usually greater than 1.33 is good, but the overall measure CPK is 1.3. So we just measured these components, and current sigma level what we found, I am just highlighting, if you can see, for this process, not the company, was 3.49, and the cost of producing one panel was 3,450. So, as I told, majority of the Indian companies, they are operating in 2 sigma to 4 sigma. So we found the sigma level 3.49. Subsequently, we plotted the process capability in Six Sigma software or Minitab software. XBAR and RChart, those who are mechanical engineer dealing with quality control, they can appreciate. Otherwise, it's not possible to make you understand about the control charts. In general, I will say that control chart basically helps you to take the appropriate measure at the right time when your processes are going out of the control. The next phase in DMAIC is improve. So here we just took certain corrective measures. So the measure was, a brainstorming session was conducted to decide the main cause of the error, and the primary cause found was with code 12. So these things are given in detail in the previous slide or in my paper. So fixture had a rectangular through pockets where the worker places the hinge and welds it to the door. So when the fixture was placed on the panel, during the welding, slight movement in the fixture caused the position of hinge to be altered. And this particular setting was causing some error in the manufacturing. So this was the cause and effect diagram we plotted for the improper hinge position, which was causing some problem during welding part. And finally, say we applied certain control measures. The solution was implemented and checked for the performance. And what we found, that with the improvement in the fixture, we could improve the hinge location and enhance the welding process. So the sigma level was increased to 3.66. So it was just a small change we introduced, and marginally sigma level has improved from 3.48 to 3.67. And this was the small study which we published in the Journal of International Journal of Quality and Reliability Management. So the results, you may not find that there is a huge saving, but whatever it is, we tried to see that there is some improvement in the sigma level. If we attack on other problems identified through cause and effect, further the sigma level can be improved from 3.48 to 3.67 to maybe 4 sigma or 4.5 sigma. So that we can do. So we are finishing our session. If you have any quick concern, question, comment, please share. Otherwise, from my side, I am a teacher. I do not feel happy unless I ask the question. This question is for you, maybe like a dessert at the end of the lunch or dinner, and we can finish the session. Thank you for your patience. So I am pausing a question. We have 1 or 2 minutes because we started 5-7 minutes late.
Yes, participant, please ask if you have any query.
Okay, maybe I
This is
can
hello.
create a question so that something can trigger to your mind, but not
Hello.
necessarily this question. These are the key references I put.
Chirpum- Hello.
Yes.
Professor Harish here from PSG.
Huh.
Right. I was actually reading an interesting article. To deploy Six Sigma, you definitely require Lean, but it is not the other way around. So your comments on that and your thoughts on that, Professor?
No, no. What is your question?
If you have to implement Six Sigma,
Okay.
you have to adopt lean practices. You have to use 5S. You have to use any of the
Very good.
lean tools that are there.
Very good. So you are supplementing our say today's discussion. I really appreciate that you shared this sentence. If you have to implement Six Sigma or successfully Six Sigma, you have to first implement Lean. So that is very true, because Lean makes your process really lean. It means without
Yes.
waste. The visibility of the processes improves, the flow improves, and then the question comes of variability. So if you ask me the prerequisite for Six Sigma, definitely I would say that is why you see in my lecture, first I talked about Lean and then I talked about Six Sigma.
Yes.
So very true. पहले भाई घर को साफ करो. Simple words में. See, if I am bogged down with so many papers on my table and I am confused, what would I tell others? Okay, so I guided 14 PhDs at IIT Kharagpur in last 10 years, and I realized that if a scholar comes to me, the first thing I must have is the crystal clear idea in my mind. My mind should be sharp enough to understand his question, and for that I must be highly organized. If I am not organized, my scholar will get confused. So I agree with you. I strongly support you must first implement lean, make your processes hassle free, improve the flow, and then the question of control Six Sigma comes. Very good.
Thanks, Professor. Thank you.
So most say liked slide is thank you. Okay.
So there are not questions, sir. So first of all, on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering, Christian College of Engineering Technology, Bhilai, Dr. Rajesh Gachkart would like to express my gratitude towards Dr. Jitesh J. Thakkar, sir, for accepting our invitation to conduct our session. I am very much thankful to you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and sharing your knowledge with us. Your session was too informative and interactive and knowledgeable for all of us. Definitely, all the participants will be benefited by this session, sir. Also, I would like to thank all the participants for joining and listening to the whole session with a lot of patience. So, thank you all. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Take care. Stay safe. Enjoy the life.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.